there and done that, it means so much more to hear it from someone like that, than it does to hear some paid psychologist who doesn't really have any basis of knowledge.
Well, it's right. It's all cumulative, right? I mean, um, you know this, and Kevin knows this from right working homicides. And you look at enough dead bodies, um, they're going to come visit you at night. I don't care who you are. You do enough undercover deals, right? That's going to come visit you at night, and you don't know when that's going to happen. Um, and so, we need to be mindful of that. That's looking at dead bodies every day is not normal, right? Showing up to the office, picking up your buy money, right? And then going off and hanging out with guys that you have spent your entire life staying away from, right? And living with them
Yeah,
and running around and
for good reason.
right, exactly. And right, you do that long enough, it's physiologically and mentally, it takes a toll on your body. And I don't care who you are, it takes the toll. You're going to have to pay the price for that eventually. And so this is where we have our docs in the undercover program, right, to make sure that everybody is doing well. It's inevitable, right? I mean, it's like playing in the NFL, right? Eventually, your body is going to say, time to cash a check, right? Same thing with what we do.
Analogy, because the thing is, I was always taught levels of awareness. You walk into a situation, you're yellow, then all of a sudden the bad guys show up, you're going up to orange, a gun comes out, now you're in red. When you're living your professional career in that orange every day, all the time, it's like playing in the NFL, in the fact that you're competing at the highest level and your body and your brain are going through this constantly. Eventually, it's got to give. I mean, it's just a fact. Your body and your mind as well are going to give if you're pushing it to the limit all the time. We got to kind of find a way to buffer that.
Yeah, and I think it applies to officers across the board. I don't care if you're on patrol in South Central or if you're an agent working undercover or if you're a homicide detective. It applies to correction officers.
It's risky business.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's why, we have as organizations that that has to be front and center because, right, we want our people healthy. We want our people physically healthy, and we want our people mentally healthy. It makes for a better organization, and frankly, it's right. And talking like a boss now, right? It helps the bottom line, plain and simple. You can't have if your people are sick, they're not coming to work, right? If your people are suffering psychologically, like Kevin said, they're not at the top of their game. So this is an important issue that I think as organizations it needs to be front and center.
Yeah, that's just the business model right there. All the great companies take care of their employees, and our law enforcement agencies need to follow suit. And you're right about ATF and the ATF undercover program and the way I think we now deal with these issues should be followed, I think, by all agencies and departments.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of the ATF peer support program, our enhanced undercover program. Look, again, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. The ATF peer support program saved my life, saved my career, right? The ATF undercover program, those docs, right? They saved, my marriage, right? I'm not ashamed to say this. My wife wouldn't marry me until I went to see one of the ATF undercover doctors, right? And I'm glad I did because I got well and she ended up marrying me. So it's good stuff. And hey, I'm not ashamed. I'm alive today and I'm thriving and I'm having a good time and I love my agency and I love the people. And the reason is because I got well, I got better. So, you can get better.
Yep. And God bless your wife, by the way, Louis, because you're not an easy guy to live with, man.
No. Yeah,
Hey,
my
well,
wife is a nice lady.
he really is. Let me switch gears. I want to
Yes,
switch
sir.
gears for a minute, though. I want to go a little bit into your background. Again, a 30-year career with ATF, and you started out on the streets. We worked together in the Rampart Task Force, where you saw a lot of action. Can you just tell everyone a little bit about your career and what you did and where you went, and then going into supervision and the different areas you were in?
Sure. So I was hired. I interviewed and I was hired out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Um, and at that time, ATF was looking for native Spanish speakers. Um, and so I got hired by ATF. And so being the federal government, they figured, hey, let's send a kid from the Northeast. Let's send him to Yakima, Washington, right? And at that time, ATF was opening an office in Yakima, Washington. So it was a two-man satellite office out of Spokane. So I went to Yakima. I worked with a guy named Bob Wyatt, God rest his soul. He was my training officer. Great guy, taught me the fundamentals. And since it was just Bob and I, and Yakima, it still is, it's the heroin distribution capital to the Northwest. Um, Tons of work there. And so I got a lot of swings at the plate because it was Bob and me. All right. My first undercover deal, my cover team was Bob Wyatt, right?
Yep.
You unheard of now.
Changed.
Right. I bought a sawed off shotgun. Bob was across the street at the car wash. The house was across the street. Met with the
How many
dude.
pages was your op order?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was on a Wendy's napkin that we wrote it on before we went to do the deal. So from there, I came to LA, where I met Lou. And I was thinking last night, you know where we first met, Lou?
Tell me.
We met at Rinaldi's.
Mike Rinaldi, sub
We met
shop.
at the sub shop at
That's right.
Rinaldi's, right? So Lou and I lived at the corner of Pier and Monterey, and Lou lived at the corner of Pier
Manhattan.
and Manhattan. I could see his house from my house. Literally just right next street over.
Hey, let me
Um,
interject because we had a great crew, man. It was
yeah,
some DEA agents, some ATF agents, some INS agents,
yeah.
throwing a couple
Couple
Los
LAPD
Angeles
guys.
Dodgers, baseball players. And
Right.
speak.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
was a
let me interrupt you real quick. Tell a quick story because I ran into one of the guys we hung with, Mike Piazza, who played for
yeah.
the Dodgers. I ran into him a few years ago. And the one question he asked me, we were talking about the old days and how we used to all hang out. He said, "What was wrong with Carlos anyway?"
You
I
went
said,
to
I,
West State.
I
That's
said,
where it started.
yeah, I don't know the answer to that one, brother. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
I tell you what, right? That was a great time, and
Yeah,
I tell people that I wasted my 20s in Hermosa Beach with all you guys.
no doubt.
But we had a great time. We worked hard. We went back. Um, we played hard, and it was a good time. And right, we're lifelong friends with all those guys. Once in a while when I go down there, and sometimes I see Eric Karros walking around and say hello. Um, I saw Scott Lipe not too long ago down in San Diego. So it was we had a good time down there. So anyway, so I came here to LA. Um, I was an agent here for about 5.5 years or so. Nathaniel ends up committing suicide. Um, they asked, they were ATF says, hey, if you want to transfer out of the group, let us know. So I think I needed a change of scenery, so I went down to Miami. I was in Miami in the Miami Field Division for about 9.5 years. Part of that time in Miami proper, the other 3 years in Puerto Rico.